And to think, I almost didn't go. I wasn't going to go. Then I was, then I wasn't. It was a case of should I, shouldn't I, should I, shouldn't I, right up until this morning. I woke up and the bed was so comfortable. I thought, maybe I should just have a lie in. But my eyelids wouldn't stay shut, and I thought, no, feel the fear and do it anyway. I read that once in a pop psychology book in my 20s, and it stuck, fortunately, in the event. Greg, that's my other half, has taken the kids glamping for the weekend, so I had no excuse. I'm a travel lodge kind of girl, so that wasn't going to happen for me, and he knew it. He's not daft. He kissed me goodbye late Friday afternoon and said, "Get yourself off tomorrow. Trust me, you'll enjoy it." You're probably wondering what I was so reticent about. Well, it was the 30th anniversary of starting at uni and our college reunion. Kaz from Inter Arts organised it. She was always a party animal, practically ran Ents as a one-woman show for the 3 years we were there. Obviously, she's not lost her passion. Credit where credit's due. I heard about it first on social media, and then friends that I kept in touch with on Facebook kept asking, "Are you going? Oh, you must go." I'm not sure how I felt. Partly excited, partly emotionally blackmailed. Not sure what I was afraid of exactly either. Afraid of seeing some of the hideous grommets I couldn't stand 30 years ago and had no wish to see again. Seeing the passage of time when I'd rather remember folks the way they were. Being sat on me Todd like a complete sado with no one remembering me. Seeing Kieran again. Whatever, I painted on a brave face and got myself off. And I'm glad I did. Really, I'm glad I did. I wouldn't have missed it for the world. The weather was glorious today, just as well as the reunion was in a beer garden in a village just a stone's throw from the college. Liberal Arts College affiliated to Leeds University. Oh, wouldn't have been quite so much fun if it had piddled it down. But the gods were smiling. It was a relatively small but select gathering. No grommets turned up, thankfully. Everyone there wanted to be there and thoroughly enjoyed the experience, it seemed to me. It was a joyous event. So lovely, seeing old friends and acquaintances and catching up on all that's happened in the intervening years. Big dreams, mostly leading to a career in education. Still, we all seem to have made a living out of our artistic bent in one way or another. Not a small success, but Molly even ended up as a body double for Jennifer Saunders on AbFab. So some were almost touched by greatness. Oh, one of the big highlights of the event was meeting up with Shell, my bestie from back in the day. I'll remember that hug we shared in greeting today for a long, long time. We were buddies from that first day on campus, same halls of residence. We hooked up online a few years back and chat on Facebook, but it's not the same, is it? Seeing her again, it was like time melted away and I just felt all the love for her that I did at the time, like it were yesterday. Remembered our adventures, the late nights and meaningful conversations until dawn over a cheap bottle or two of red or white or whatever was available. She still looks amazing. What did I expect? A bunch of old wrinklies. Everyone is wearing surprisingly well. Well, almost everyone. We got Prosecco in an ice bucket to share and plonked ourselves down at a bench. Rachel and Shaz joined us, but just like old times. Shell eulogized about what a fab time we all had and, well, how lucky we were to have had that experience before the days of student loans and when you could study the arts without having to have a rich mom and dad to finance such an indulgence. As usual, the conversation turned meaningful. She asked, amongst other things, what I would have changed, if anything. I just wish I'd enjoyed it more, I said. We enjoyed the first year, she replied. And I did. It were the other two that were not that great. The years after Kieran. Kieran was my first love. The big love. The love you lose yourself in. The one I thought I'd never recover from. He were dark, Irish, well, Spanish-Irish. Oh, beautiful teeth, with a smile that lit up his face. And a bit of a lad, but utterly charming for all that. And I did love him. I loved him so much. We met in Freshers' Week, up in the campus bar. He did this daft Vogue dance to Groove Is in the Heart by Delight. And I think I fell in love with him there and then. It was quite a permissive atmosphere from day one. Despite being slap bang in the midst of the AIDS panic, everyone were bonking mad. I mean, really, bonking mad. They were. In fact, Chaz were only saying today that she didn't think she'd enough fingers and toes to count all her conquests that first year. And she's probably right. We probably need to grow a second set of arms and legs. Not me. No, I was a good girl. I took some persuading, but Kieran was very persuasive. Oh, he could turn it on. He'd turn those big, brown, bushy baby eyes on me and I was lost. It's not about sex, Lara. It's about making a connection. I want to give myself to you, body and soul. He made it sound so real, not corny. I'd no previous experience and, well, doubted he'd had much, but what he lacked in expertise, he made up for in enthusiasm. He made me feel loved. I believed in all his flannel. I'm sure he did too when he said it. After that, we were rarely apart. Spent every night together, lunch and dinner in the canteen, evenings in the bar. He was captain of the rugby 11 and I was his cheerleader, come fair weather or foul. Mostly foul. But he said I looked really cute in my bright orange cagoule. And that's all that mattered to me. My most enduring memory of Kieran is of that one night after the Union Bar shut. I mean, it didn't take much for him to rise to the challenge of a dare, and he plunged into the lake on campus. He emerged naked in the moonlight. Tan lines framed his backside. Oh, his bottom, it looked like a peach. He looked like a young god to me as he strode back to his halls of residence. No shame, laughing and proud. And mine. Then the first year ended. I had a summer job, fixed up at the licorice factory back home, he went off backpacking round Europe with some of his rugby pals. He was only meant to be gone for 5 weeks, but it lasted the duration once he landed bar work on course. I missed him so much. It physically hurt. It was like there was this Kieran-sized space in my heart only he could fill. I so looked forward to him coming back to me. But he didn't come back to me. At least, not the Kieran I knew. Just a stranger in his place. Like that film, Invasion of the Body Snatchers. He felt compelled, he told me, compelled to admit he'd been unfaithful whilst abroad. Not the once, but a number of times. That he realised things had gotten too serious too quick between us. That he needed his freedom. That he loved me too much to mess me about. And all the time he was crying, tears welled up and clung to his beautiful, long, dark lashes before he'd blink. And big drops would cascade down his face and drop from his chin. My heart actually went out to him, like mine didn't matter. I suppose I clung on to the hope that, well, if he did love me too much, he'd finally realise what he'd lost and we'd get back together. Didn't happen. Silly me. So much for freedom. By the second week of the second year, he and Monica were an item. She was a music student. Her forte was blowing wind instruments. So he must have thought all his birthdays had come at once. Saxophone was her speciality, so they were well suited. I don't remember him being very musical otherwise. I were then forced to spend the next 2 years watching them, kissing and cuddling and laughing their heads off in every location and at any given opportunity in unrelenting fashion of passion on our remote and isolated campus. What you need to understand is that it was like living in a goldfish bowl. No escape, nowhere to run. If you didn't have a car, you were stuffed, and I didn't. So I was stuffed. It didn't do much for my mental health or my love life. Call me sensitive, call me what you like. It were hideous. It's a wonder I didn't end up a basket case. Fortunately, the strong do survive. I didn't really start to recover until we graduated and went our separate ways, which probably explains my ambivalence in attending the reunion today. And yes, Kieran was at the reunion, and Monica too. They've been together 29 years, and 5 kids later, they treated me like long-lost family. I kept expecting Davina McCall to leap out of the bushes at any minute with a box of tissues and a cameraman to hand. Anyone would have thought Monica and me were best buds, not deadly rivals. Oh, she wanted all the goss. I was happy to oblige. I've had a lovely life since I got over her other half. They've not worn well. Grey and stout and middle-aged. I imagine 5 kids can do that to anybody. Oh, but still both rosy-cheeked and happy and contented. Good for them. I'm glad of that. The bubbles well and truly popped for me, though. Did a long time ago. I'm glad they're happy. I'm glad they made it work. I'm glad for them. I'm glad for me, too. Driving home, I was just left feeling so grateful. So grateful for Greg. So grateful for our kids. I was so broken-hearted after Kieran. I never thought I'd find love or have kids, but I've got both. I kept thinking of the sad, lost teenage me and wondered what I would have said to her. Hang on in there, Lara. You'll have it all. You'll have a lovely life. She did. I met Greg. He taught me to trust again. Greg and I travelled the world before settling down and having a family. I'm glad we did it that way round. I'm glad for where we are now. Greg gets me. Kieran never got me. His loss. And I'm glad I went. So glad I went. I nearly didn't, but I did. And I'm so glad I did.